back, and welcome back to Mike Duong. Hello.
Hello.
Good to have you back.
Hi.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you.
All right.
I loved my first podcast, so I was so excited. I wanted to come back for my second podcast.
Well,
So
good.
this is fantastic. Thank
Happy
you
to
so
have you
much.
with us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Let's talk about the impact of health and wellness on leadership, and we'll discuss your future goals and aspirations as well. So, firstly, how do you balance the demands of running a company with your own personal health goals, and what is your long-term plan for that?
Yeah. So I think we're very fortunate, or I'm very fortunate, because Amway is a health and well-being company. So, it's not one of these situations where the company I work at has a very different sort of perspective on that. And where we encourage, right, as a company, myself, our employees, and obviously our Amway business owners to all have a healthier, better life, and to help Malaysians have a healthier and better life. So that's the blessing that we have kind of working at Amway and in a company that's the largest direct selling company in the world, with this vision and legacy and history of being health and well-being sort of oriented. So as far as incorporating, when you ask me how do I balance or incorporate it, one is the company is already aligned towards that. I think from a personal perspective, I had to kind of really truly embrace it. There's different elements. When I first started to come here, it was more like, okay, it's a corporate job. Let me kind of understand my next career. Let me keep on moving. Let me take this assignment. Or even as I came here to Malaysia, it's like, okay, hey, this is an opportunity for me to work in a market, work overseas. So let me take that assignment. I think it's only when I started to sort of really blend the two together and made it part of who I am and understand that's who the company is or what the company is about, that allowed me to have maybe a little more focus and a little more alignment. Because it wasn't like, okay, I'm just going to do this because it's part of my job or career. I really blended into, this is who I am, this is what the company is, and I am able to have the best of both.
Right. I mean, let's talk about being a product of the product. We've got a managing director who has obviously made fitness a big part of his life. We've got general manager who's also, very much into health and fitness, going swimming and running, and our new CEO as well. You mentioned that he runs marathons 4 times a year. I mean, do you feel that these will also play a big part in encouraging your staff as well?
I hope so. I think, as leaders, we want to be role models, and we want to walk the talk, as we say, right?
Yes.
And so hopefully our team members and our colleagues and just everyone around us kind of sees that this is who we are, and they kind of say, okay, that's great, right? It's great that we have this opportunity to really work in a company that has those values, or work with a company, if you're talking about our Amway business owners, that has those same values and principles. In terms of, so that's the first part. I think the second thing we have to do as a company is then create the opportunity to do it. So not just to kind of buy role model, but we actually have purposeful programs. We have these opportunities where we actually will help our employees enroll into first a health assessment program, and then we provide them the opportunity to really focus on their health in terms of nutritionists, talking about their diet, as far as the supplements, to understand how they can incorporate the right supplements into their diet, awareness on that. And of course, we even offer activities on a weekly or monthly basis where they can go and work out, right, at our facility and so on. And same thing with our ABOs, right, to incorporate that same mindset and opportunity, and then to have the testing afterwards. So we have programs, and then we celebrate their successes. Recently, we actually had an event where first round we had 50 employees, and they were, I would say, about 70-80% were successful. And then they actually were the ones who coached and mentored 300 other employees, right? And so they were also tremendously successful at about the same rate. So we created the programs and the opportunities and the community.
And you started a chain reaction.
And you started a chain reaction, right? How do we replicate, duplicate, share, and really grow this idea? Because, right, it's not just going to be myself. It's then the employees and others, our ABOs. We all have to embrace it, along with all Malaysians have to embrace this if we're going to really, truly be a healthier society and a healthier country.
Right. Now, having an idea of your philosophy in health, so how has your health journey influenced your leadership style and your approach to business?
Yeah. I think the health journey, there's several aspects when we do, right, when I did my own health journey. One is the idea that we want to improve ourselves long term. I think that's also transcends into the corporate, right? We want to prove ourselves long term,
Right.
not just, okay, hey, well, what's my short term goal? Yeah, we all have to have short term goals as well so we can celebrate successes, right? Whether it's on this year or this quarter, being, right, a public listed company. But we need to also have a long term. And I think that's the same in terms of our health. If we kind of say, okay, well, my goal today is to be able to run a little further, a little faster. I want to be able to lift a little, extra few kg. That's your immediate goal, right? And say, hey, well, by the next week, by the next month, I hope to see some progress. But if you don't have a long-term goal, then you're kind of just maybe doing the wrong thing. You're not, it's like you're doing the wrong exercise or you're doing the wrong thing because you're not really thinking about long term. You're just kind of doing this one thing, and maybe this one thing actually hurts you long term. So that principle of health and well-being, I think, transcends and actually is a great philosophy for corporate world too. And so when you combine those things about how do you have a healthier company, a more sustainable company that gives back to the planet and gives back to our community, I think those are the same things, I think, from a personal perspective, we try to have in our lives.
Right. Now, how do you incorporate health and wellness principles into your company culture, and how can other leaders do the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it starts with the vision.
Right.
I think the vision of what's our why, what's our purpose. And so I think if we understand what is our purpose as a company, understand what's our purpose as people, I think then we can kind of set the right direction. So our purpose is to truly help people live a better and healthier life. And that when you say healthier, okay, that's pretty obvious, but healthier has multiple dimensions.
Right.
Healthier means a healthier body, a healthier mind, because stress and well-being and mental health is a big issue nowadays. Right. Mental or health might also be our own social health, right? The sense of community, connection with others. Right? How do you create that? Because again, we're part of a community. We're part of a society. How do you do that? How do you have your own personal development goals? Better also means, okay, financially better. Financial freedom, financial independence, a little opportunity to to own your own business. Right? That's an important part of life. Right? To be able to then take that into savings, investments, retirement, opportunity to travel. But then also
mental health,
yeah, all those things, right? And then back to, as well, we talked earlier about giving back to our planet and our community, not just the planet, but also our immediate community, our immediate family even, right? So these are all things and aspects of sort of how you should maybe think about both together. And so as a company, if you have that purpose that's aligned towards those elements, then I think it makes it easier. So again, we're just blessed and fortunate that we have a company where that's the same.
What are your future aspirations for your company within the health and wellness industry?
Yeah. Number one is, as we were thinking about health and well-being, we all focused, of course, during the COVID. Everybody was, we prioritized COVID. We prioritized the need to have the lockdown to, stop the spread of the COVID pandemic, to look after the frontline workers because they were the heroes in the business, to look after our own health, both physical health, but also mental well-being when we're through that. But I think we looked ahead, we said, well, a pandemic, so we're done with the pandemic, right? We came over it. We had the booster, we had the shots. But there's a larger health crisis that we maybe don't talk about enough, which is if you look at Malaysia, the health crisis is not one that's immediate, but actually it's been there for years. And now it's creating a immediacy or urgency because today, 78% of Malaysian adults will die of a NCD, a non-communicable disease, what I'll call a lifestyle disease. And that's attributable to blood pressure, cholesterol, high blood sugar. Right? That's a health crisis. That's going to be a huge burden to basically our economy, our society, our families. And I think that's the one that as Amway, we're like, well, we're a health and well-being company. We have 800,000, 900,000 Amway business owners and customers.
Mm-hmm.
What if our purpose is to actually help those people, help other people truly make a difference in Malaysia and to really change that? And that's, I think, the ultimate goal. And so you say, well, what's our aspiration? Our goal is that people say, okay, well, Amway, really, you're actually helping Malaysians live a healthier and better life, helping Malaysians understand the health issue, helping Malaysians take ownership of their health, and at the end of the day, helping make a difference so that we can all live longer and be healthier.
That's good to know. Now, what significant shifts have you observed so far, and how can we help to elevate the industry as a whole?
Yeah. So one of the first things, I mentioned those statistics, those numbers, right? They're numbers. So we said, how do you take that from being a number? Because, for example, the world today has over 600 million people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, but that's a number. We said, how do we make sure that individuals can see the results and truly know that they're achieving the results? Because that's what matters the most, right? And so one of the things we did is we partnered with a test lab, okay, to be able to then provide the facilities that people can go have their health screening test. Okay, I know it's something that maybe a lot of times we don't want to do, right? I think a lot of people are afraid either because they're afraid of the needle or they still want to know the numbers. But if you don't know the numbers tell us, again, back to 78%, most likely in our family, right, immediate family, we're going to have somebody with high blood pressure, high blood sugar, have high cholesterol. So if you know that number, then you can say, okay, now it's real. Now, how do I address it? And so that's the first thing kind of to take care of. So what we did was we encouraged testing. We provided the facilities for testing. And I'll tell you the amazing results. We had about 4,000 of our Amway business owners across different groups, lifestyles, income levels, professions, and they took their test. And we had, out of the 4,000, we had about 2,000 who had high blood pressure, or we had about 1,500 who had high cholesterol, or we had 900 who were pre-diabetic. And after they went through the education, the training, they changed their diet, their lifestyle, their nutrition, they incorporated, right, a healthy gut in terms of a protein shake with probiotic and fiber and vegetables, and they incorporated the right eating sequence. 70 to 80% of those who had one of these NCD issues, right, what I'll call lifestyle disease, improved their marker, improved their health to the point where half actually got it from a unhealthy range
to a
normal range.
Yeah.
Right? And we're not saying, hey, everyone's going to achieve those, but over 4,000 people of different lifestyles achieve those results. So I think the data shows that if you commit to these changes, it's achievable, right?
And we're not even talking major changes. You can even start with the small changes.
Yeah, the small changes. You're right. I mean, it was right. When we talk about the changes, because we don't want people to make such a drastic change that it's not sustainable.
Right.
Right. These type of changes have to be incorporated. One, why we did the testing was that it showed people, right? Okay, wow, I can actually achieve these results.
Yeah.
In 2 months, in 4 months, 6 months, we actually have test data going out over 18 months to show that not only can you get it relatively quickly, but it's sustainable, right? And when people talk about, okay, I lowered my cholesterol, I lowered my blood sugar, it's something that now you kind of take that forward. It's okay, that's a lifestyle change. This is a lifestyle disease. Now I've made a lifestyle change. And so it was sustainable. And I think that's the beauty of this. Right, when we talk about that. And like you said, it's small changes. Yeah. We didn't ask them to become, right, change their diet and become what I'll call a rabbit, right, just to eat carrots and lettuce. We actually shared or showed how you can actually still eat the foods you like, okay, but maybe sequence it differently, maybe incorporate some of the activities I mentioned, incorporate a little more movement,
a little more fiber,
fiber, right? Having the protein, having the probiotic. We didn't ask somebody to go out there and say, okay, start running a marathon,
Yep.
right? Start running 5 marathons a year. No, it's just small changes,
Yep.
sustainable changes.
Right. That sounds like a good plan. Now, how do you envision the future of health and wellness in Malaysia?
Yeah. I think hopefully through the test data, I think, and the partnership we have, both with, the test labs, the partnerships that, we're going to announce soon with the universities in Malaysia, and also partnerships and, reaching out and working with collaboration with the Ministry of Health. I think these are activities where we want to make sure, and even also through communication with the media, right? We want to make sure we raise the level of awareness, raise the level of partnership and collaboration. So that way, at the end of the day, our goal is to help people. Right. And I think that's the ultimate goal. It doesn't matter the means by which to do it. Our goal is to help people and help Malaysians truly be healthier. Because, right, if 3/4, 78% of adults die of these issues, why aren't we being more proactive? Why aren't we taking a stronger, more bold step to address it?
Do you believe that a healthy leader is a more effective leader? Like, why or why not?
Yeah. I think because if you're not healthy and you don't live it, then people are going to say, well, are you walking the talk? Right? I hope that nobody expects me, right, to be, a 2% body fat or expect me certain things, because that's not necessarily our definition of health. Right? I think that the goal is that you want to have a leader who sort of lives by what they're saying, so that way you can say, okay, well, otherwise, how do I trust the person? Because, right, if they're not believing in the product, if they're not believing in the lifestyle, if they're not really living it, then they're just telling me what to do without truly believing it. So I think it's important that, right, back to purpose and passion have to be aligned. And if the leader has that same purpose and passion around health and well-being, it makes it easier. And then you feel more confident that, hey, this person is truly being genuine and truly a genuine leader, and somebody that you say, okay, hey, their purpose, especially if you think about, we mentioned before, is long-term health, not about, okay, immediate benefit or gain, or trying to achieve something that's harmful for our long-term health.
Right. Now, lastly, would you complete this sentence? A healthy leader is?
I think a healthy leader is both a happy leader and someone who cares about themselves. And then because they care about themselves, that means then they have the capacity to also care for others. And I think in that interaction, when you first care about yourself, that means that one, you take pride in yourself, you take care of yourself, because when you do that, then you have the capacity to love others, love your husband or your wife, your kids in greater sense. And then because if you're sick, how do you take care of them? Right? If you're unhealthy, how do you take care of them? If you pass away, how do you take care of them? Right? And the same thing is from that standpoint, from a personal perspective, also from a leadership perspective. If you're, right, stressed, if you are also too rigid, then how do you really provide that same empathy to your team? We all need to have a purpose. We all have to have a passion. We also have to set goals. But you also have to have the flexibility where it's not so like, okay, it has to be done this way, only this way, just do it my way. Because you're not developing yourself. You're not developing people. You're not encouraging them to be the best. And you're not giving them opportunity to grow and to find their own way. Right? All you're doing is just making staff or people who are afraid of you, who are intimidated, or who just want to say yes or do exactly what they think you want, but not really grow as a person, grow as a leader, and then again, truly embrace it. So that they take it as their own, not just, okay, well, my leader, my leader told me I have to say this. My leader told me I have to do this. I'm just doing it because it's what the company wants to do. No, you truly understand the purpose and passion, and therefore you actually own it, and you actually are even maybe a greater influencer and contributor to that purpose and passion.
Okay. Well, that's our show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I can't believe it's over already. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks.